Hi, I'm Laura Ryder and I am a professional dog trainer, and today we're going to be talking about puppy toilet training. A few key factors that we need to consider before we get started. So first of all is physical maturity for our puppies. So that physical ability to have the full control over bladder and bowels so they can hold on, take themselves outside and then relieve themselves. Now this may not happen at the same time, so you may find that they're doing lots of wheeze outside but there's an occasional poo inside, or vice versa, but bear with it. Sometimes both don't happen at the same time. Now it also varies from pup to pup as to when that physical maturity actually happens. I do compare them to little toddlers. There's no set age for when they're ready to toilet train. It really does vary from individual to individual. So if you've had a dog previously who's toilet trained really quickly and your new little pup is taking a little bit longer, keep that in mind. Some of it is the physical component that's needed. Average though, hopefully you should be seeing lots of progress by the time they're 4 to 6 months of age. At 6 months of age, if you're still having issues, my suggestion would be to contact a force-free dog trainer and see if they can give you some extra assistance. And also it is worth maybe getting them in to see the vet, just in case there's a medical issue that might be causing some of the issues. Okay, now it all does start when they're teeny tiny, so before they come into our homes, when they're with the breeder, and so the breeder can set them up and make life a lot easier for us. So some breeders will put down newspaper everywhere, so like the first photo, and so most of their area is covered in paper, so what puppy learns is pretty much kind of wee and poo everywhere, and that obviously can be a little bit more challenging when they come into our homes. Really proactive breeders are wonderful because what they will do is they will have a specific toilet area. So like the little guys who are with their mum in the little puppy playpen here, there's a small little area of grass that they can take themselves to, and what they do is they learn right from baby puppies, from weeks old, they're learning to take themselves to a specific area. So again, this can have a big influence as to how quickly our puppy's toilet training, a little bit depending on what the breeder has done in those first few weeks with them. Okay, now we need to look at some management strategies while we are toilet training puppies. So first of all, when puppy is out and about in the house roaming around, we do need to be there to actively supervise puppy. And the best times to take puppy outside is as soon as they wake up from a nap, after eating or drinking, and after a playtime. So this can be really common times when they need to go. So all of those straight outside with puppy. And also be actively supervising and watching for those telltale signs. So the sniffing, circling, the squatting, again, they're ones for being able to take puppy outside as quick as you possibly can. Now when puppy is outside, it's really important we reinforce what we do want. So when you've taken them outside, they've done their wheeze or their poos, wait until they've completely finished, because otherwise we can distract them and they've only emptied half their bladder. So wait till they're completely finished, and then highly reinforce, praise them, tell them what wonderful puppy they are. So it is important you go outside with puppy in these early days and show them what you do want, because the more we reinforce a behavior, the more they will offer it to us. Okay, so when we can't actively supervise our puppy, we need to think about what we're going to do instead. So first of all, I highly recommend a playpen and or a crate. So the little photo here is a great little setup for puppy. They've got a nice little comfy bed, they've got a little water bowl, and they've also got a little toileting area in there as well. So when you can't actively supervise puppy, they are going to go into their little puppy playpen. I kind of call it, it's like their little bedroom. And when we, if we can't supervise them for long periods of time, so it might be overnight, it might be you've gone out for a few hours during the day, for baby puppies, provide an indoor toileting area, and that way they've got somewhere they can take themselves to if they really need to go. Okay, now if we are providing them with that indoor area, it is really important to know that our puppies are quite surface specific about what they go to the toilet on. And what that means is that they will learn a preference for a particular substrate to go to the toilet. So my suggestion is I try to be as good as possible in being consistent with puppy. So a piece of roll-on grass in a litter tray is really similar to real grass outside. So you can buy a cheap little roll of grass, cut it into a little square, sit it in the litter tray, and you're ready to go. So if they learn to take themselves onto a grassed area in a little litter tray, what then happens is that the grass outside is the same substrate. So I find this is the most successful way to help puppies with toilet training. Now, sometimes what people do is they use the good old newspaper. What we do see a lot of though is that they learn, oh, I wee and poo on newspaper. So they come inside looking for newspaper because there's no newspaper outside. So really important that we're aware of that. We sometimes think newspaper is a good option, but it can be really hard to change them over to use the grassed area. The other one, puppy pads. I don't use puppy pads purely because what happens is that a puppy pad is nice and soft and squishy, and so they start to seek out other soft surfaces. So what happens is that we might use a puppy pad and then we try to fade that puppy pad out. They don't have access to it, and so they look for something really similar. And the last thing we want is them learning to wee and poo on soft surfaces like rugs or blankets, or even worse, up on bedding. Okay, now a really common issue that happens with our puppies is that distractions happen. So puppy toilets inside after they've just been outside. So you've taken them outside, they haven't gone to the toilet, so you bring them back in, and within a minute there's a wee or a poo on the floor. Now the reason for this is when they go outside, there's lots of distractions for a new little puppy. There might be different noises, different smells, their toys might be out there, different objects, the neighbour's cat might be sitting on the fence, they can hear the kids next door bouncing on the trampoline. There's all these distractions in this environment, so they kind of forget about going to the toilet. So we then take them inside where there's less distractions, and whoops, there it is, there's a toilet on the floor. So what we can do with this one, my suggestion for our distracted puppies, is we take puppy outside on lead. And so once they've gone to the toilet, they can then be let off lead to go and play with their toys or bark at the neighbour's cat that's sitting on the fence. But they need to go to the toilet first. Now, if they don't go to the toilet, I kind of will go out for maybe 1 to 2 minutes with them, no longer. If they don't go to the toilet and we've got them on lead, we will then return inside. They can go back into their little play area with a little toy or a little enrichment game, and then we're going to try again in 15 minutes later, pop them on lead, take them outside again, and see if they need to go then. Okay, now it's going to happen. If there's any little accidents inside, it's really important what we do with these accidents. So dogs, even little puppies, their sense of smell is amazing. And so they can detect tiny trace amounts of urine and feces, even though it smells nice and clean to us. There's tiny little traces there, they can smell it. And dogs tend to be pretty clean animals, so they tend to gravitate towards an area that smells like their toilet. So sadly, that can be the lounge room rug or the the carpet in the bedroom where they've gone before. You often will see they gravitate back towards that area, and it is because there can be some lingering odors. So thorough cleaning is a must. So I highly recommend you get an enzymatic cleaner to prevent areas in the house smelling like a toilet. So you can buy made up solutions at your local pet shops. You can also, one that I use a lot of is your BioZet laundry powder, which is with your Omo and all your other laundry powders, and mix that up into a solution with water. And again, that has enzymatic power cleaning in there, and it will get rid of those smells. Okay, problems with punishment. So this can sometimes happen. What happens is that people see the guilty look. So they tell puppy off because there's a puddle on the floor, and they misread the guilty look. Now the guilty look is actually it's a human emotion, and so what happens is it's actually a stress signals in our puppies that we're seeing. So we're shouting at them, we might be pointing, and we're really showing aggressive body language. We're really cross at them because they've weed on the floor, so they just look stressed. So they don't know what guilt is, so please don't punish them. The only person you can get cross at is yourself. You weren't there to kind of catch them and supervise, so by all means you can kind of make a mental note, oh, need to keep a bit closer eye on them, or should have taken them out. I did see they had a big drink 5 minutes ago. But what can happen is if we punish them for weeing, they can actually think that, oh, I'm being told off for weeing in front of mum and dad. It's not inside or outside, it's weeing and pooing in front of you that's getting them in trouble. So they can actually go, okay, then I'm going to go and hide. And so they'll sneak behind the couch when you're not looking and do a wee or a poo. They haven't made the association with, oh, I was inside, that's why I've been told off. And we don't want to use punishment. It does damage the relationship and the bond we have with our puppy. You know, in those impressionable months, it's really important they have as much positive experiences as possible. So follow all of the other tips and you're not going to need punishment methods. Okay, so in summary for our training, so active supervision. When you can't watch them, use your crate or your playpen area. Remember, puppies are surface specific, so if you're doing an indoor toileting area, make sure it's as close as you can to the area you want to go outside. So like I said, roll on grass is my go-to. Reinforce what we do want, so it's important we go outside with our puppy and tell them how wonderful they've been once they've completely finished going to the toilet. Clean up any accidents really thoroughly and avoid punishment. Okay, I hope that has helped you. Happy training and watch out for one of our next videos coming up soon.